Hello and welcome. Let's get right into this challenge. All right. The rules for this challenge is we're only allowed to kill the zombies with our body. That means we can hit them, kick them, spit on them, stomp their head in, tackle them, whatever. As long as it is our body that does the damage, it's fair game. I choose Pruna for this challenge mainly because she has a lot of stamina increasing abilities, and this is nice because I can hit them more. She also has a lot of melee enhancing abilities, which, if you don't know, your fists count as melee weapons, not blunt weapons. I don't know about your uh, kicks, but I know that your fists do. With that being said, let's jump right into the first mission. This asshole makes me pick up a paddle, which he's like, "You're gonna die without a weapon out there." But little did he know I'm a Kung Fu master, so I immediately drop that to the floor and start doing my 1-2 combo on these zombies. And as you can see, I absolutely folded that fool. I just start kicking them, and I'm like, dang, this is pretty easy. And it was. You can pretty much just curb stomp the beginning zombies really easily. It's not bad at all. They're pretty simple to take care of, to be honest with you. Um, Before we get into the lighthouse, I quickly want to mention this beautiful hunk of a man joining me right here. His name is Sawyer, and he's a good friend of mine. He joined me for the entire run, so you're going to see him for the entire run. He also used no weapons, and he just made this run a lot more entertaining. Big thanks to him for helping me out. He's an awesome guy, and yeah, just made me not want to, shoot myself from boredom. And then we get into the thug, and I'm like, okay, this is our first big challenge. This is the guy. This is the thug gangster. And he ends up being incredibly, incredibly easy. We slap him a few times, and he is dead. He really wasn't too bad. It took us under a minute to kill this guy, and was the easiest thug in the entire game. I mean, granted, he's the first thug, so yeah, he should be the easiest thug in the entire game, but he was. Then we go to the lighthouse and do a couple fetch quests. There's a lot of fetch quests in Dead Island, so I'm only really talking about the important quests, but there's like a lot of random quests. Then we do our first side quest, or our only side quest, where we kill this girl's dead husband. He tells you to get her out of there to safety, and then you can go back and absolutely murder him. It's just a hilarious side quest. Then we go to the gas pumping station, where we get gasoline not to power our cars or a generator, but to burn bodies. This is probably the best use of gasoline in the apocalypse, and there's really no challenge here. We just kind of kill the zombies. Now we're going to talk about cars. Are we allowed to use cars? Yes, of course we're allowed to use cars. What are we, the Joker? We're not fucking madmen out here, okay? Um, we are allowed to use cars, but only as a form of transportation, okay? How is it my fault if the zombie decides to run into the 100-mile-an-hour vehicle because Sam B is always keeping it 100 and gets himself killed? That zombie just wanted to kill himself, okay? And who is it? Who am I? Who am I to tell him that he can't, okay? We never purposely hit zombies with a car, but if they did jump into the car and get themselves killed, or if they were in our way and we killed them, then yeah, they got killed by the car. If you count that as a loss, count that as a loss. Whatever, man. I don't really care, to be honest with you. Then Sinamoi sends us on a very, very important mission. We're needing to, pick up a very important item of his, and there's a thug guarding it, so you already know it's dangerous, okay? We risked our lives for this item, and you may be wondering what this item is. Well, let me tell you. After we beat this thug to a bloody pulp, we're able to get our hands on Sinamoi's legendary item, the juice boxes. Sinamoi told us that these juice boxes would calm the entire camp down because he had a Capri Sun one time when he was 7, and it made him really happy. And so he thought if we brought Capri Suns back to camp, it would make everybody at the camp smile and have a very good day. And that it did. Then we go to the hotel, where we run into 2 thugs guarding the door. But you can actually just pick up the key card on the floor, and you don't even have to fight these guys. So that's exactly what we did. We didn't need to fight 2 random thugs for no reason. Fuck that. And so we get into the hotel. Now you're thinking the hotel, and then this place is spooky. And I'm thinking the exact same thing. This place is kind of scary. But it actually was really easy. We just kind of kicked the hell out of some zombies. Now, there were challenges. We were running through all the zombies that we could, and because of this, sometimes all the infected that we ran past would pile up and beat the hell out of me. Beat me to a bloody pulp. However, we were able to just keep running past them, or kill them, or run past a door and close them off to where they couldn't get us. And with this, we were able to make it to the parking garage in no time and break out of that bitch in complete style. Like absolute James Bond type stuff. Sam B completely floors it out of the garage like a professional. After that, we get to the plane crash and run into the boomer or bomber, whatever, I don't know. And we take care of this guy just like anybody. I just wanted to talk about him because I want to talk about every special zombie, but yeah, he's really simple. Then we get to our first protecting quest, or like moving quest. I don't know what you'd call these, but it's with our boy Nikolai. And Nikolai just makes it even easier. I mean, he's helping us kill the zombies, and he has an actual weapon. So, yeah, it's pretty easy. Then we get to protecting the garage while they are putting on armor for the car. This is really easy. The infected come at small bursts of waves, and even if you die, you'll come back, and it's really not a big deal. You just clear out the infected. I did die like once or twice, but it wasn't very hard. And then we go to the city, and we're like, oh, wait a second. The church. Yeah. Huh. What's at the church again? Oh, yeah, the little asshole Rampager, or I believe that's his name. I don't know. I'm calling him the Rampager because I mean, look at him. He looks like a Rampager. I mean, he rams like a Rampager, you know. Anyway, this guy isn't too bad. I thought he was going to be a lot worse than he was, and he was definitely harder than thugs, that's for sure. But this is the only one we had to kill in the entire game. This is the only mandatory one. And we were still pretty low level, so he wasn't too bad to take care of, because I felt like as we got higher levels, it actually made the run harder. Just because I felt like I was doing less damage to the zombies. But in no time, we're able to just keep him from ramming and going to his back and punching him, and we're eventually able to kill him. So yeah, he was pretty easy overall, nothing too bad. I don't even know if he killed us. I don't even think he did. After that, we get to the pump station, and we're looking for a ladder because all the punks are on the roof. And Sawyer sees this ladder outside of the map, and I'm like, okay, I don't know if I can make it, but I do the absolute parkour ninja god stat, and I just jump all the way up there. It was pretty badass. Sawyer found a ladder on the other side of the building later, so we didn't even have to use this ladder, but it was pretty cool that I was able to jump up there. Now the punks, these are our first enemies with guns. How are they? They're not too bad. I learned that kicking them is very ineffective. They do not fall over super easily, and yes, this guy was pinned against a wall, that's why he can't fall over. But just in general, kicks didn't really knock them over too well. Sam B, by tackling, was able to knock them over really well, so me and Sawyer used that to our advantage multiple times. The tackle was very good. The main reason I didn't play Sam B was because Sawyer was also playing Sam B, and I didn't want to run two Sam Bs. And so, I switched it up with Pruno, which worked out well. But yeah, all the punks are really easy to take care of. If you look at their heads and attack, you'll do like this charge up fist attack at times, which against people without helmets is really effective. There's that one dude with a helmet who's a boss apparently, but he wasn't really a boss. We kind of killed him in no time. This is where we run into Joseph, who's looking mighty fine on this, day. I love Joseph, probably one of my favorite characters in the entire game. We bring him on another little travel quest, protection quest, whatever. And this one's pretty easy, except Joseph doesn't really help us. He kind of just sits there and screams the whole time, oh my god, there's zombies! And we're like, yeah, as we kill the zombies. Then we make it to the sewers where we run into the floater. I believe this is the only floater we killed in the entire game, because I don't really remember ever fighting another one. But he wasn't too bad. I would kind of hide from his little vomits and then peek out and just beat the hell out of him. And he fell pretty quick. I mean, his health went down pretty fast. We were able to just keep swinging on him. And he didn't have a crazy high health bar, and he was dead relatively quickly. After this, we give some alcohol to the people in like this town little area, or at least to the guard guarding the door from all the zombies. I give him some alcohol so he can get lit and have a good party, have a good day. And we move on to the sewers. Now, the sewers I'm not going to talk about too much because there's no real dangers besides the doors here. The doors like to insta-smush you and kill you. I was constantly getting murked by the doors. But besides that, the sewers are pretty boring. So this is the last time I'm going to mention them. Then we get into the supermarket, and there are just punks everywhere. These little bastards are everywhere. They're swarming the place. And this wasn't too bad because there was cover everywhere. And like I said before, punks aren't too bad to take care of. However, it did take us a decent amount of time to clear it. I mean, you could kill relatively one, maybe two punks per life. And so you'd come in, kill about two, die, come in, kill about two, die, come in, kill about two. There was this one dude with the AK, and he was a little rough. He was a boss type dude, I guess, but you could just keep swinging on him. And the thing about Dead Island that I noticed is when you're hitting somebody, they kind of don't hit you back. And so by medkit spamming and hitting him, you were able to kill them all relatively quickly. And then we get the best cutscene of all time. Also, we were spending all of our money on medkits, so we could constantly heal up. Then we get back, and the guard must have gotten a little too lit because he accidentally let a zombie in, which tore every single enemy up. Now, this dude was a challenge, okay? He was a actual brutal thug. We were like, dang, this dude's gonna take a second, because none of our damage was doing, like, anything. This guy was strong, and he was just hitting us to our ass every single time immediately. And he was just a rougher thug. So we were like, shoot, this is gonna take a sec. Before his clumsy ass decides to take a nap mid-fight, falls over, hits his head, and dies. We literally didn't even have to fight this dude. Then we return to Joseph, and he tells me a couple of punks stole his N-word pass and changed his skin color to white. I couldn't believe this, and so I go to the police station to find who did this, and we run into our first zombies with armor. These guys just take a lot of resistance. We'll run into a lot more of these guys in the prison, but yeah, just keep that in mind. The zombies now, some of them have armor, I guess. And then we clear out the punks. There's even less punks here than there were at the supermarket, so it's even easier than the supermarket. Then I fling that zombie off the edge at a million miles per hour as we're helping Jin get to the bunker. Sam B disses the bunker door, and it absolutely blows up because his raps are too good, and Sam B also falls to the floor by the absolute explosion. We make it to the little swamp area and find this dude's orange collection. And as we all know, fuck them oranges in the swamp, dude. They taste nappy and yappy and nasty, bro. So we started kicking the hell out of them. Then we run into our first butcher, and this dude was kind of a goof, okay? He was fun to fight. We had been able to get him on the ground and stomp his head in, but we fight one or two more of these guys, and they can be pretty scary. Then we get a gun, and don't worry, we didn't shoot any enemies with this. We just decided to shoot the absolute hell out of this guy for owning oranges in the swamp, you know, as that is illegal. And then we decided to light up his oranges, making sure nobody could eat them because, you know, nobody wants swamp oranges. But then I immediately dropped the weapon, okay? We just wanted to shoot the oranges, nothing else. And then we get to a pretty rough segment in the swamp. I mean, this is probably one of the roughest parts in the game. There's a ton of enemies that we have to clear out, and that's not anything crazy. But there's this asshole with an AK in full body armor that absolutely lasers you in 2 seconds. The only thing, like, Sawyer was able to last his bullets for a while because he had a skill that made it so he got damage resistance to bullets. But for me, I would get lasered in about 5 milliseconds. And so we would just keep dying, coming back, hitting him, dying, coming back, hitting him. We did this for about 10, 15 minutes, and it was pretty ineffective. We got him pretty low. This isn't how low he is after about 10, 15 minutes of this. But yeah, we were only doing about 12, 30. Like, we were not doing damage at all. Until he forgot to take his schizophrenia medicine, and he just started shooting a box. And while he was doing this, Sora kind of took advantage of him and just started wailing on him. We had got him about half before we did this, but we kind of cheesed this guy a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, but you know, it was his fault for not taking his schizophrenia medicine. Okay, that it's his fault, really. And then we get to the laboratory where we help these dumbass scientists. I'm sure these guys are very smart. You know, even though they have zombies in cages, nothing bad will happen here. And we make it to the arena where we fight their hardest challenger. This dude was actually pretty rough. He was pretty much just a thug that can run like an infected thug, and he was pretty fucking scary, I'll be honest with you. He killed me a good amount of times. He just loved to target Pruna for some reason. He loved to target me. He would just beat the absolute hell out of me at every chance he got. But with little to no effort, that's not true. With a good amount of effort, we killed him. We're professionals like that. And then we help our boy Oppa. This mission is pretty easy. There's nothing too crazy here. However, there was a part where there was a thug and a butcher, and this was pretty scary. As you can see, his health is pretty low, and this was probably one of the hardest travel missions. Maybe not the hardest, but it was definitely up there. It was quite spooky. Then we returned back to the lab to see all the dumbass scientists that had let the zombies out of the cages and just slowly let them all eat them. And we were like, damn, that was stupid of you. Time for us to go to the prison. So now we're at the prison. We're at the end game. And we're clearing out all these zombies to help this dude's friend from a cell because he was stuck. This is the last travel mission in the game. And the hardest part of this travel mission probably was this armored thug, but we were able to eventually get him on the floor and just keep beating the hell out of him. We were pretty used to fighting thugs at this point. They weren't too difficult, and we killed him. Then we run into the only, people at the prison, which are called rebels, but they are literally just cops. It's weird how you help the prisoners, but you don't help the cops. And then we get to the Reyes, or what is this dude's name? What is this dude's fucking name again? We get to him, okay? Ryder. We get to Ryder. Sorry. We get to Ryder's fight, okay? And this dude, why I didn't remember his name? Because it's not very eventful. When you do this guy's fight in a normal playthrough, it is very easy. In this playthrough, it was one of the harder fights for sure, though. It just took a lot of slapping around. It was pretty much like the hardest challenger or whatever in the arena, where he's just a fast infected thug, pretty much. However, he was a lot crazier. It took us about 20 minutes to kill this guy. It was actually one of the longest fights in the game, but it arguably wasn't as hard as that dude with armor, especially if we hadn't cheesed him a little bit. But with no time, we're able to beat the absolute shit out of Ryder and his dumbass for taking the vaccine. Well, he wasn't ready. I don't know. This dude's an absolute fool. And we're able to escape the island like professionals. We get on that helicopter and start flying on out of there. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hopefully it was worth a little bit of your time. You should subscribe if you want. Also, all this footage is streamed on my Twitch, CloudyBoy03, if you want to go check that out. Thank you boys so much for sticking around. More will be dropping soon. And yeah, have a